Hey everybody, this is Connie with the Artisan Company. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I think we're going to do something that's kind of a contemporary throwback to the 50s and that elegant 50s look. So let's go get started. Hey everybody. Okay, let's get started on this little project. What triggered me to even do this project was I was watching an old movie called It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. Some of you guys will know what that movie is. Anyway, my husband and I were watching it the other day, and there's the mom that's at the beginning of this movie had on this killer, chunky, three-tiered necklace. And I thought, oh my, that just triggered me to make something. So that's why this project got started. Okay, so this is what we're going to need today to do this project. You can pick any kind of bead you want, leave some of this out or not, doesn't matter. But anyway, I'm going to tell you what I've got here on the desk. Okay, so what I have here is I've got some Amazonite stones right here. And Amazonite you can get pretty regularly. I got these at Michael's. But they're a matte finish, as you can see. And I love this. And I thought, oh, this is just kind of funky. So let's just go with these today. There's a 12 millimeter, a 10 millimeter, and an 8 millimeter. And so we're going to use all these sizes because we're going to do a graduated tier, as I was saying. Okay, and then we've got some faceted glass here to just kind of perk up this mat a little bit. Some faceted glass, and over here we've got an 8 millimeter, 6 millimeter, and a 4 millimeter. Okay, and sizes on this. The next thing that we have are bead caps, which you can or cannot use. That's your preference. I like it. It dresses it up a little bit and kind of helps preserve some of the glass beads. But anyway, we have a 10 millimeter right here, kind of a floral 10 millimeter. Then we have, I'm sorry, this is a 12 millimeter. Let me back up and punt. This is a 12 millimeter. This one is a 10 millimeter and it's a floral too, but it's a different design than this. And I did that intentionally. And then this one is a 6 millimeter, which is even a more different design and a little different color. So we're going to have a little bit of an edgier, instead of a more uniform look, it'll be a little edgier kind of look as we're going, just because of the bead caps, a little more contemporary feel. Okay, and then I got a piece of chain to finish off the back. And then I've got a beautiful hook and eye clasp right here. And then these are my connectors. And since it's a 3-strand, I had to have a 3-looper here. And then the 1 loop on the top to connect the clasp on the back. And then clearly crimps and crimp covers. So with that, let me get my head wrapped around it and we'll get started. Whoop! Alrighty, so I'm going to start with the bottom strand here, and because it's the bigger beads, and I'm kind of rolling them around to look at color and that kind of thing. You know how I do. Roll them around, and I'm going to pick out anything that's kind of got any kind of major flaws to it. And there was one bead in here that had a little, right there, that little druzy thing, which is really cool, but I don't want that in the necklace. So I'm going to pull that out, and then I'm going to roll them around. I'm going to let them be just kind of random in color. I'm not going to sort my blacks and my blues and whatever. I'm just going to let them be random in color because I like this matte look. So anyway, okay, I'm going to line all these up and then we'll get started. Okay, so I've got my beading wire cut now, and I'm getting ready to start this first little strand here. And I just kind of mixed the black, since the black was kind of dominant in the colors. I just kind of randomly mixed it every 2 or 3 stones or so and just kind of left it like that. This is going to be about maybe the 3 strands. Let me get it up. The 3 strands are going to be maybe a 16, 16 and a half, 17, 17 and a half to an 18. So they're going to almost stack on top of each other perfectly, but we'll just see where that lands. So I got my first piece of beading wire cut, and I'm going to start on this end and just bead it all the way around. It's no big deal. It's easy as pie. All right, so we're going to start with the big bead cap and then the stone. You're going to flank each stone with a bead cap. And then in between each stone, you're going to do one of these pieces of cut glass. So easy peasy right now, just easy as pie. My hands aren't coordinating today. What the heck? It's like, good grief. I hope you guys have been enjoying the bead reveals I've been doing, because the whole purpose for doing those is, when you're on Facebook, you get tons and tons and tons of uh, things, if you're a beading person, on beads and where to buy beads. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to start buying from some of these people, and just to see if it's a great company or not. Because, you can buy something from somebody and just go, it's mediocre. It's not that great. So, anyway, that's the reason why I'm doing that, is so we can kind of, you guys don't have to spend the money on it. I'm spending the money on it and seeing if the company's worth even buying from or not, and what kinds of things they offer. And that way you guys can go, oh, I think I'll try them next time. And just, gives you some options. So I hope you're enjoying it. I know I'm enjoying it. My friend Marcia over at Jars to Jewels and my treasure hunt, she said, you're going to have stuff for months and months to deal with. I thought, yeah, I could do stuff for years right now. Never buy another bead. But anyway, she does Marcia does the the big jars. Golly, I can't talk today. The big jars that have multiple types of things in it, and she sorts them all out, and then she takes some of that and pitches it, keeps the good stuff, and then remakes jewelry with the things that she's got on her other channel and sells that. So you need to go check her out and see what she's doing. She's a great person uh, to to see what she's doing. I think she's amazing. Yes, Marcia, we love you over here. Oh my gosh. All right, so you get the gist here of where I'm going, and I'm gonna finish this strand, and then we'll come back. But look at this. Oh my goodness. This is gorgeous. And like I said, you do not have to use the bead caps if you don't want to. It would be just as stunning without them. But I'm giving it a little bit more of a contemporary twist with these and protecting these little glass beads in here. But oh my goodness, I can't wait to get the next strands done. So let me finish this one, and then we'll come back and look at the next strand. Well, all right, I got the bottom part done here, and what I went ahead and did, I didn't use all the stones, but what I went ahead and did, because you'll need to remember that your chain here and the connector and the chain and the clasp is all part of your length. So you want to make sure that you measure this out before you decide how long this is going to be here. And I was going to do, I think I'm going to add a little bit longer length to it, just in case someone wants to buy this that's taller or heavier and doesn't like the 16 inch right up next to their neck. So I'm going to give it a little more leeway so it'll fit a lot more people. But anyway, what I did was I went ahead and I took my chain, which I didn't show you this, but it's a piece of cake. Took my chain and added my connector right here. And so the chain it's kind of like jump rings. It's got little slits in it. So I just opened it up like a jump ring, and I added this connector. Then I came down on this end and I added the clasp on this end, one end of the clasp. Just opened it up like a jump ring and put it on there, and there you go. So this part of the necklace is done. It's easier to do it before you start connecting the strands of stones. It's easier to go ahead and connect everything first. This winds up being about 6 inches long, so I need to add that on to what I've done here. And so it's going to make it somewhere around a 20. This whole connecting thing all together is going to be about a 20, somewhere around in there. So this next strand that we're going to be doing right here is going to be a little shorter as we come up here to this part. All right, let's look at it. Okay, I'm moving from this 12 millimeter down to, I picked the wrong one. La, 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 la. I should be doing the 10 millimeter next, but this is the 8 millimeter, so I'm going to go ahead and do it while I've got it out here. It's easier to do them in a different order. But anyway, I'm checking my beads for things that could be wrong with them, and I don't want anything with flaws. And then I'm going to take them and I'm just going to, because the black is such a dominant color, I'm just going to kind of intersperse it in there, different places. I'm using the ones with the most color, trying to disperse it a little bit in there, like so. And this is not anything that you have to do. If you don't want to do this, that's fine. There's nothing right or wrong about this. But I just like the way the blacks are kind of more interspersed with the other stones. All right, the next thing we're going to do is take a piece of our beading wire. Let me get my shorty here because this is the shortest strand. All right, let me figure out which one it is. It is this one. Okay. All right, so let me clip it on the end so the things don't roll and have 152 pickup. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use these bead caps, the little tiny ones. Let me put some over here, right here. And I'm going to pull this over so I don't lose it. I cut the strand of cut glass. No, I don't want it rolling everywhere. All right, so we're going to move to the little tiny faceted cut glass. So they're going to be like a 4 millimeter. These little bitty ones right here. And you can use a 6 millimeter too, which would actually be stunning as well. But we're going to start here. So we're doing the little small strand instead of the medium one. And we're going to flank each one of these with this gunmetal color. And I think this is going to be beautiful once we get it all together. It's just going to be so odd looking, not your typical everything matches, which is going to give it so much interest. And I think it'll just be a fun thing to look at because there'll be a lot going on, but yet it'll still have that 50s stacked look. The necklace the lady had on in the movie, if you got, I don't know if you got anybody's watched it or not. I'm sure a lot of people my age have. But you ought to go back and pull it up. She had a real chunky necklace on, and it was just so fun. And I was like, oh my. But this one's going to be a little more elegant than what she was wearing, but I sure did like what she was wearing. And who knows, I may go back and do another one similar to this, maybe wood or something like that. It'll just be a lot of fun to experiment with. All right, so we're getting the effect here of what this is supposed to look like, and I'll show you this one, and then I'll finish the strand. All right, I'll do one more of these little guys. It's going to be so pretty. Okay, so this is what the top strand is going to look like. And man, this right here, this really looks Victorian because of the little filigree looking bead caps on it. Just beautiful. Oh my goodness. All right, I'm going to finish the rest of the strand and you finish yours and then we'll come back together. Alrighty, I got this top one done, as you can see. Technically, I was supposed to do this one right here with this size bead next, but I didn't. So this is the inside strand, and then this is the outside strand. And so now I'm getting ready to do this middle strand, which is what I should have done earlier, but it doesn't matter. It all works out fine. So what we're doing here is where these little hoops are that connect this to this, we're going to do the crimp and crimp cover here in the silver all the way across to connect all of this to these bars. And so it'll have a silver finishing thing right here on the end. It'll be stunning. Okay, so the next thing we're doing, we are taking the 10 millimeter Amazonite stones, and then we're going to use the 10 millimeter, I'm sorry, yes, the 10 millimeter bead caps and the 6 millimeter faceted glass. Okay, I'll get it in a minute. But anyway, but you know what? You could use, this is endless. This is just a template for you. But, you know, if you wanted to, you could use this size piece of glass or another stone or whatever all the way through the whole thing. Or you could use this size all the way through the whole thing. You don't have to mix it up the way I did. I'm just trying to create as much interest for the eye as possible, because this is just kind of a beautiful stone, and it's funky and it's got a lot of movement in it, and so I'm just adding more movement to it. Okay, so I'm going to get my last strand here, and but you can see the easy is I'm able to figure out by placing it right next to the bar where it's going to be going exactly how many I need in here to make everything work. And this is one of these things that it's not difficult. You just have to take your time. That's the whole thing with these types of necklaces. You just have to take your time. If you get in a hurry, you're going to get frustrated. So just go slow, be very methodical. And what do I always say? Check and check often, because I went back and looked at this strand and realized that I left out one of these bead caps. As big as that is, I missed it. And so I had to go back and go down about 5 stones, take those off and put that on and start over. So check and check often, and just be methodical and go slow. All right, I'm going to sort out my beads here, and then we'll get started on this last strand. Okay, last strand, and we're going to use these funky star looking bead caps this time. So we'll start on this end down here, and we'll just start putting them all on like we did before. Same type of pattern, just a different bead cap, different size beads. I'm so excited about this, y'all. This is just so much fun. I don't know about you guys, but getting ready for the holidays already. I'm just trying to keep my head above water right now because I paint as well. And so I've got multiple projects going on at this juncture, and I'm working on a big, on my painting end, I'm working on a big compass, uh, three-dimensional compass, and I'm also working on an eagle that's dimensional as well. And earlier in the summer, spring rather, I was picking up, you know how the whirly birds fall off the maple trees, you know, just everywhere, all over your yard. They just go everywhere. And I was out there just sweeping them up, getting them off the driveway, and yada yada. And I heard the Spirit of the Lord tell me to pick them up and put them in a bag because there was an art project I was going to need them for. And I'm like, I'm standing there on the driveway going, seriously? So I did. I picked them all up, and I picked up a big bag of them, and they've all dried out now. And it's exactly what I wanted. And they're going to be the wings on my eagle. They're going to be incorporated into the wings on the eagle, and I'm just so excited about it. It's going to be a pretty hefty project to do, and it's going to take me a little while, and I've got about 6 weeks to get both of these projects done. So in between this for you guys, I'm also doing that. So it's kind of a crazy thing. Maybe I'll shoot a picture of it for you when I get it done because I know it sounds a little cray cray. But anyway, yeah, so multiple things. Okay, so here we are. And look how this one looks. Oh my goodness me. This is going to be just so fun. It's going to jump off the page. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of the strand and then we'll start connecting all these pieces together. Yes, it's going to be fun. Be back in a minute. All right, so we're down to the end here. You can see where I'm at. I've got all these clipped off so that they don't roll around. But you can see I've got it all stacked on top of each other and they're almost touching. Now you can do it where there's space in between them and that's cool too and it looks just as beautiful. I've done them like that as well. I am going to try to stack these as best as possible. Okay. So what will happen here, since this is the outside one is going to be my lead strand, in other words, it's going to be the one I do first. There will be a crimp right in here with a crimp cover, which will look like a bead. So there'll be a little space there. Now, when you come to do this strand and maybe this one, there may be a little room in there where it needs to have some filler in there. So if that is the case, it is okay to add filler beads in there to make that strand stack the way it needs to. I have seen it done so many ways, and I've done it that way myself. So if you have a little more space and you need some filler, you can, depending on what that filler is, you can add 2 accent beads. In this case, the bead cap itself might work, so I might be able to stack another bead cap on the top of this one, or put a little tiny, like one of these little beads right here in there, whatever it takes to make it all mesh and stack appropriately. Now, one other thing that I did, and this is just a design choice, you can do it any way you want to, but when I did uneven bead counts on here so that I would have a center bead down here on all 3. So these are actually my center beads for the very middle of the necklace. You don't have to do it that way. If you would rather have this as the center, like this, that's great. You can do it that way too. There is no right or wrong. They are design decisions that need to be made according to the type of stones and beads that you're using, and that's just a personal preference. Okay. All right, so let's get started on this thing right here. Woo! Okay, so I'm going to attach this outside to this. So I'm going to take my crimp, slide it on there, slide the outside hoop on the bar in there, and then you're going to pull it down pretty much right next to that bead cap right there. Do you see how close I've got that? I mean, it's right on it. Now make sure you leave a little bit of room right here because you want this to be able to breathe. You don't want this part right here so tight that it's screaming at you. You want that to be a little bit of room in there. So I'm leaving just a smidgen. You can see it right there because once I close that crimp up and put the cap on there, the cover on there, it's going to be tight. So I'm making sure that I'm leaving enough that it can move. All right. Always double check before I do it to make sure I'm not leaving too much. Oh, I got a crimp in there in the wrong, almost in the wrong place. Right. All right, so I've got it crimped. I'm going to run a little bit of this wire down in back through the beads. That's my personal preference so that the um, wire doesn't pop out. And also, if for some reason something were to snap or whatever, you're less likely to lose as many beads as it's falling off your neck, you know. But hopefully, we won't have that problem. That's not what we're shooting for. Oh my gosh, there's the end of it right there. Okay, pull that right through there like that. I'm going to clip the end off right here. Run that down through there. All right, and then I'm going to put my crimp on the top right here. Cover, rather, the crimp cover on the top, just like that. That way it'll look like a finishing bead, and that's what we want. Closing it very, very slowly, because you don't want everything to go whoppy jaw on you. And there we go. Got that first strand on there. Run your finger across it. Make sure that you don't have anything standing up. All right, so there it is. We've got it on there. It can move. That's what we want. All right. All right, so we're going to go and connect the other side of this on the other side. And then we'll see if we need to add any filler beads on these other two over here. Boy, this is going to be stunning. Oh my goodness, I cannot wait to get this done. Okay, wow, wow, wow. All right, I'm going to do the other side and then we'll go to the next strand. All right, so I got this side put on, and yes, I'm going to have some filler beads like I was talking about earlier. So what I decided to do is I kind of played with some things, and I thought, okay, I think the most inconspicuous thing and the easiest thing would be to add another bead cap here. And I did it right here. You can see it right there where I added it, just stacked it right on top of that other one. And it's beautiful, not even noticeable. So that's what we're going to do with this one. So I just took another one, stacked it on there just like that. Make sure the tension is pulled down all the way around to here because you don't want to have a gap between this and this. And if you don't get the tension right on it, that will happen. So shake it down, make sure all the beads and everything are in order. And then you will connect your crimp just like you did on the other one. No problem. Okay, so I've got it going right there. Make sure your things are going the right way and it's not flipped. Okay, so you'll know that you're doing it on the right side because I've done that before. It's like, ah. All right, so I'm going to pull this down just like I did the other one. As tight as I can get it without it so tight it doesn't move. All right, so you want to make sure you got some movement in there. Got it a little tight. There it is. All right. This right here will be the hardest thing you will do on this whole entire necklace is connecting these to these with the right spacing. That's the hardest thing on this. And sometimes it just takes practice, but sometimes you'll get it the first time and you're like, yeah. All right. All right. Get in there, baby. Get in there. There it goes. It's probably hard to see with my hands. All right. I got the crimp on there like that. Now I'm going to run this wire down through here. I'm not going to film that because you saw me do it on the other one. So I'm going to run this wire and then I'll be back. Alrighty guys, we have finished this project. I'm going to show you what I did with this last strand. I went ahead and did the last one just to expedite time. But oh my goodness, you guys, look at this. Is this not stunning? Oh my goodness. I am so excited about this. You can see I got the clip on, clasp on right there. But let me show you what I did here. Let me pull it around. Oh gosh, y'all. I just don't know that the camera picks up the beauty of the beads sometimes. They are just scrumptious. So anyway, okay, so remember the second strand right here, this one and this one, we just added one more bead cap to the top, and see how inconspicuous it is, and it just blends with everything else that's going on. It's just perfect. On this strand, yes, we needed some filler space up here at the top. And I added one of the 8mm cut glass beads, these little guys right here, because it just brought that dark all the way up to where the top is. And it blends right in with that silver because of the tone of the color of it. And finished it off with the crimp cover there and the crimp, and it is done. And this thing lays, guys, it lays right on top of each other. Look at this. Oh my goodness. You it just, it's just perfect. It's perfect. So all right, let's measure it here real quick and see what we got here. Boy, I am so stoked about this. He's like, oh, where did my thing go? I lost my, there it is. Okay. All right. So the necklace as a whole. Wow, perfect. So this bottom strand right here is 24 inches right here. And it just stacks right up to the top. And that's about where I was going with it. So that's exactly what I was hoping would happen. Okay, so I am so glad you guys joined me today. This was a long project, I know, but sometimes they are long. So you just can't help it. But I hope you got some inspiration. Take this, tweak it to however you want to do it, stones, whatever. Just make it your own. I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.